Hi everyone, welcome back. This one's gonna be a little different, this video this week, about 2 or 3 different topics we would love to discuss with you. So
and what we want to talk about is, we're not into like conspiracy theories and that type of thing. We've been trying to give advice on what people should do in an emergency and prepping, but part of that has kind of led us down this rabbit hole of seeing other things and really starting to see things for ourselves. So what we really want you to do with this video is do your own research and come to your own conclusions. We're not going to tell you what to think on anything, but we're going to tell you what we think and what we've observed, and then encourage you to do a lot of your own research. And
this video is, not to interrupt you, hon, is not to fearmonger or, oh, it's the end of the world. Well, let's just say things are looking more bleak, more dangerous, more expensive. We have a lot more doubt and worry than we ever have.
Right. Like, are you going to need to be prepped? When we started doing the prepper videos, I always said, again, better to be prepared and not need it than need it and not be prepared. But the more that I see, I start realizing that these people that are doing this are probably onto something, because there are some things that are really scaring us that we're seeing that maybe one off by themselves wouldn't be that big of a deal, but when you see this pattern happening, all of a sudden maybe there is more reason for concern than we thought there would be.
Right. Very much so. Some of the stuff that I've seen has made me really cry and wonder, how did that happen in the United States of America? We're in Wisconsin, we're in the Midwest in the United States, and I really feel that we are the best country in the world because of our freedoms and our opportunities for everybody, and the opportunity to love and live life. Just live it the way you want.
And one of the things we say when we encourage people to do their own research, and what we mean by that is, if you guys get your news from a certain news organization, whichever one it is, whichever side you may be on, look at some of the other ones. Don't just look at one. Try to look at everything from all sides. So look at news organizations that are left-leaning. Look at news organizations that are right-leaning. Try to find some that are unbiased, which is really, really hard to find any that are unbiased. I will definitely say that while I'm a conservative, I do not believe everything that you hear from the right or from the left, either one.
And I don't claim to be either one. I look at the overall picture of what's going on, and I assess it from the actual facts, things that seem to really make sense or not make sense. I don't put it on the side, and I don't put it in a certain light.
Right.
I just say, this is what I see, this is how I feel towards this.
And what we're going to talk about also, when I say do your own research, use more than just the first search engine that everybody goes to. Go to several different search engines, because that's what I did, and I found several different answers. Browsers.
So
search browsers.
There's a lot of browsers out there, and we're not going to mention names because we're not sponsored by anybody. We're not trying to say this is what you should do. Look at a bunch of them, and you'll see that you're going to get a lot of different
you can put the same question into several different browsers and get several different answers. So you really need to decide for yourself, what is the truth, what could possibly be happening, and again, do I need to be prepared? Because when we started this prepping, it was more of an emergency type thing, and now it's turning into more of like, I just wonder, I think some of these people might be onto something.
Yeah,
awareness. Being aware.
Aware of what's possible.
Right.
Did I ever think that there's a possibility of something really going bad in this country for the country as a whole?
Right.
No, other than the fluctuation of money and kind of gas, food prices, things of that nature. But we're kind of going off on a tangent a little bit. But we really want to go. Our first part is really about the Maui Fires in Lahaina.
Yes.
And I started watching these videos, and you said, why are you watching those? Because you cry and you get very upset.
Right.
Well,
And if you really, and what's happening already is I'm already seeing some of these YouTube videos being taken down. But there was you can't deny these videos that just showed proof of things that were happening out there. There was too many irregularities and too many inconsistencies. It was first claimed that the fires were started by an electrical line coming down onto some grasses. But now the power company are saying that those power lines were already shut off prior to the fire. That they did their due diligence and those power lines were already shut off. So we don't really know the exact cause of what happened. Now,
And since
Go
we're in
ahead.
the beginning part of how the fires supposedly started, or when they started on August 8th, this went on for over 2 weeks.
oh yeah, yeah.
So, and I just find in the beginning, the power was off. There was no water. The water was shut off, and they didn't use the siren like for hurricanes and storms and things of that
right,
nature.
just to warn people that there was a disaster happening.
And they decided
Yes.
not to use it. And then, I guess we'll go to the next
Right.
part.
Well, many of the top officials were actually gone from the
On
island at the
vacation.
time that it happened.
They were on
exactly,
vacation.
just convenient. Now, if you dig deeper into your research, there's a lot of theories about what may have happened. My thought is, one, it was either intentional or very much neglectful, in that if it did start because of brush, unfortunately, a lot of these climate activists said you couldn't clear cut, you couldn't do these things, and so then because they were denied doing this clear cutting, it left this brush that died and then started that fire. So it was either intentional, which I'd hate to think that it was, but it could have been. It was either intentional or just extreme neglect that this happened.
I believe it's both, but
Right.
that's based on the information that I've heard and seen and listened to. You have to
Right.
do your research, and like I said, you have to do your research in more than one area. Just be open to the possibilities. Even if somebody says something that you don't like, that's okay. You're gaining knowledge by what you're hearing.
Right.
So you want to hear from a lot of different people that are from there, from Lahaina and also around Maui, and then you want to hear people supposedly in the government about what happened.
Right.
Hear all sides of everything.
Yes, and if you search for the videos that are talking about the fire in particular and how the pattern of the fire was, it just to me looked way too convenient how these fires followed a pattern and destroyed some things and didn't destroy any others. Now, I'm not a scientist, but I know that if my back forest starts on fire, you're not going to have areas that are perfectly square that didn't burn. You're not going to have areas that completely did not burn and some areas that were just completely ravaged by it. So something just isn't adding up there. Now, what happened that could have ignited those? I don't know, but it's not adding up. I'm very suspectable, very questionable about this because things aren't adding up. And these were videos that were not doctored videos. They were just videos of the aftermath that were happening right at the time. And the police were stopping. There was videos of the police stopping people from stopping their cars and taking in these videos. They did not want this story to get out. So right from the beginning, the police force, someone had told the police force to stop letting people take these videos because there was just suspicions on how something was completely burned and something right next to it wasn't even touched at all, and they were not letting them take videos of it.
And on the police matter, am I blaming the police? No. I have a collection. To do something like this, if this was done on purpose, there has to be a collective of a lot of people in power in the government, locally, and
Right.
throughout the United. This
The police
happened.
were following a directive.
Please hear me, everybody, when I say this. This happened in the United States of America. It happened in Hawaii.
Right.
So, and I'm sure you all have heard the conspiracy theorists or other people talking about how it was a land grab,
Right.
and that it was by not only the government, by the people with a lot of money. We're not going to mention names, and we're not going to do
The people
blame.
that had a lot.
Come to your own conclusions. I'm just afraid that this type of thing has happened in the United States of America, in any state.
Right. And I think because if people keep paying attention to this and keep asking questions about it, then maybe this land grab that might have been trying to happen won't happen because it will just be too obvious. If they come in now and do this land grab, whether it's the real estate developers, speculators, whoever it is that wants to do this land grab out there, if they do come in now, it's going to be so obvious. So by keeping a light shining on it, it might prevent that. It might prevent people that, people are worried that their land had been in their families for generations and they could lose that now. And if we keep a light shined on it, I think there's more of a likelihood that it won't happen, because if it does come in and these developers come in and develop it into a whole new area and you don't have these mom and pop shops anymore and that type of thing, then you gotta wonder, was that the objective from day one? Which is absolutely terrible to think of that.
Didn't you say that something was passed in January?
Yes, so in January, the state of Hawaii passed a thing that said the government could basically do a land grab on anything after a natural disaster. The only way they could do it would be a natural disaster. Now, when they passed that, there really was no reason to say, hey, if there's a natural disaster, we're going to be able to, the government's going to be able to repurpose that land at that point. But if you do your research on it, they did that in January, and then in August, this happens. Again, one of those things where when too many coincidences keep happening together, all of a sudden, all these things aren't adding up.
And since my philosophy about coincidences, I don't believe that. I believe there's synchronicities. When things happen, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different things happen, that's kind of on purpose.
Right.
Regardless of where you think this came from or who did it or the reason why. And the last thing is I want to say, I'm sending you all, prayers, positive thoughts, and I'm hoping that you'll get some type of resolution. And the last thing, I'm really upset at our own government to say, we'll give each household $750 to help you out.
Right.
You know what that does?
A one-time payment.
That doesn't even buy groceries. That
No.
maybe for a couple weeks, if that.
Right. Hawaii is the most expensive state to live
It
in
is. It is.
in our country, and they're going to give them just peanuts. And on the flip side of that too, we've sent hundreds of FEMA agents out there. We're putting them up in hotels. I don't know what they're really doing out there, but they're out there in hotels which are costing hundreds and hundreds per night to stay in the hotel.
Thousands.
We're spending thousands of dollars
Per night.
housing all these people out
Per
there,
person.
and we're only giving the people $700. I mean, exactly. I don't even want to go into that.
And we try not to have these conversations, but it's important that we stay alert and aware of what's going on. So if that can happen in Hawaii, what says it doesn't happen in one of the other states? Maybe your state, if you're in the United States.
Yeah.
We're in the Midwest. We're in Wisconsin. Could that happen here? I don't know if there's any places of interest that they would want to possibly build up something. But then again, any place could be that. Any lake, any place that has a beautiful view or a beautiful area.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm kind of afraid of that.
Yeah.
And
again, like we're saying, this is our opinion. This is research that we've done on this. What we're really trying to do is, I'm not trying to tell you what happened or what my opinion and all that type of thing is. What I'm trying to tell you is, please do your own research. Go ahead and research. Don't believe everything I'm telling you. Go ahead and do your own research. Use several different browsers and explorers to do your own research. Come to your own conclusions, because I just feel like there's not enough light being shined on this. And so do your own research and come up with your own conclusions. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I really do. But it just concerns me because I'm seeing this happen. And like Lori said, it could happen
it's sad,
anywhere.
huh? It's sad.
Anywhere at all.
It breaks my heart to think that our country would allow that, if that is what happened, would allow something like that to grab a piece of land, a small area, for development. So hopefully that's it. But I know we've been talking a lot on this, and this is a very touching thing to my heart, and I know you've been upset by it too when we discuss it. So we really want to do this video. We want to do a bunch of different areas, but this was really important because this has stuck with me now since it happened, going on 2 months. So all I want to say last but least about the Maui Fires is, aloha everybody, sending you all love, and I'm thinking of all of you. I hope whatever happens, that you can get back on your feet, have a place to stay, you have food, jobs, whatever you need. I hope that is happening right now for you.
Definitely.
Okay, moving on.
All right.
Okay, and we're back on to topic number 2.
Okay, and like we had said, any one of these things by themselves doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but when you start putting all this stuff together, you kind of start questioning things. So we wanted to talk about the mandates that are coming back related to the pandemic. Exactly. So what you've seen already, at least 3 states already have mandates back in place for what happened during the pandemic.
And let me interrupt Andrew here real quick and say this. If you believe in wearing a mask will protect you and others, please do so. If you feel that it's going to help you, please do it.
Exactly. I'm not here to tell anyone what to do.
No.
At the same time, I don't want anyone to tell me what to do. That's kind of my philosophy on this. It's like, if you want to do what you're told and you want to follow the mask mandates. Now, if again, I was doing research, and you can do your own research, like I was saying before, I implore you, please do your own research. But there's research that show masks work, and there's research that show that they don't. I, for one, know because I was wearing one the entire time, and I still got the virus.
And I won't give details and names other than 2 years ago, just before Christmas time, you were working at a place,
right,
and you were wearing a mask, but most people in that place
did not have to.
Did not have to. So most were not wearing the mask, and you got it after working there for 3 weeks,
right?
And you were so sick, and
yes,
it was definitely that word that YouTube doesn't like. So.
And like I said, I had a mask on the entire time. So there's been studies that show they work, there's studies that show they don't. But what my personal opinion is, like Lori had said, if you want to wear one, that's great, that's fine, go ahead. Wear one all day long, wear one to bed if you want to, I don't care. You can do whatever you want. The problem I have with is mandates, because I think what happened with the last time is we too easily gave up our rights to things without any proof what would work or not. You know, there was a comedian that did a little skit about who decided that 6 feet was safe, right? Who decided that?
6 feet safe.
Why not 7? Why not 5? Why not 13? We just decided that, and we just all accepted that. We just said for some reason everyone only breathes out 6 feet. Now some people, because I talk and I project more, I bet mine is farther than that because I do project more. I bet other people that didn't project
10 or 12.
As far.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my point is not to debate anything scientifically. That's not what I'm trying to do here. What I'm trying to say here is I still believe that everyone has individual rights and that we should be the one to decide the rights for ourselves. If we want to do that, then we should. If you don't want to, you shouldn't be mandated to do it. It's up to you.
Absolutely. But I have to say this, and I say this just from, I'm 60. I'm getting up there. I've been around a while, and I'm originally from Chicago, born and raised, and I see what mandates do. Mandates cause a lot of bad problems for the city, for the areas around the city. If you put a mandate on somebody, that means you have to do it. It's a law, even though it's not a law.
Right.
The mandate, they suggest you, but all of a sudden everybody says, oh, you can't come in this store, you can't come in here because you're not wearing a mask. And then for a while they were like, did you have your shots? Again, same thing. Whatever you feel is best for you, you should do. Because bottom line, we still are a free country.
Exactly.
For the most part.
And
for the most part.
unfortunately, what happens is, in my opinion, is you're seeing like this power grab. They're seeing just how much the government can get away with telling you to do and how much we'll listen to. Because if you read, I don't think very many people have actually read our Constitution, but there is nowhere in our Constitution that gave the government the kind of power they're trying to take. But what they did was they were trying to enact this, it's good for you, it's safety, it's for the benefit of the people. And so they're doing that. If you look, there's nowhere that said they can do these things, but under a safety for us, they've been able to enact all these different things, and we've just willingly given up our rights.
Right.
And again, I'm not against people. Make your choice. Do whatever you want.
But they're coming back.
I'm in favor of choice.
We're near the end of September here in 2023.
Right.
And a lot of colleges, places like
Schools,
California,
colleges, yes.
New York,
Ohio was another one that was doing it.
They're starting already,
and hospitals are starting to do that again.
Oh, yeah. My sister, I have to say this, is a nurse, and she manages a facility, and she's there all night long, 6 days a week. They're making them mask up and put a hood on. So that's dangerous for them to be in that environment. They can't breathe, and then they're around people who are sickly. So,
and also, you know, even if you're doing that, you're just not going to be able to stop everything. It's going to get, you know, everywhere. It's going to be there. You can't just be protected 24/7. You have to be allowed to take that risk if you decide you want to take that risk. Again, up to the individual.
Oh, very much so. And like me, I have very bad asthma, bad allergies. I used to tend to get colds and flus easily. I don't anymore because I pound vitamins and I do all these extra health things, like Shakeology. We take that, right. 13 years. I have not been sick other than that one thing that
I brought to the house.
That you brought to the house and you gave me.
Yeah.
We know it was that because I lost my sense of smell and taste, and that took like 2 weeks to get back. You, it took what, a month or so?
About that, yeah. I was down and out for about a month. Yeah. It did really,
well, because I have asthma, it really bothered my lungs, and I felt winded and tired and just never had energy for like 4 months. So we know it was that. But even then, if there wasn't a mandate, I would not have worn this because I just feel like I can't breathe. I'm uncomfortable, but that's my own personal feeling.
Right.
But I did wear a mask all those months in that year. Any places wear a mask, I did. Go to the doctor. This year, I went to the doctor just for my yearly checkup, and they said, wear a mask. And this was in the spring. I did. So, you have to be smart about it. Even when you don't want to do it, sometimes you have to just kind of not cause a scene or have a problem.
Right, exactly.
Be fair and really think about, the situation.
And like individual businesses have every right to require it or not require it. And if an individual business requires that from, the people coming into their business, I'll honor that, but I might not go to that business anymore. So you got to keep in mind that yes, businesses can say that. They can say it all day because they have the right to do it. That's actually private property. When you go into any store, that's private property. And if they wanted that policy, that's their choice to make that policy. It's also my choice to decide where I'm going to spend my dollars at based on what their policies are. So
yeah, exactly. So instead of really ranting like we did in the first section, I just want to say that he makes these beautiful mugs that have a thumbs up, and subscribe on the other side.
So if you like what you saw here, please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you like what you saw. And if you really, really liked it and want to get one of these mugs for your own channel, you can go to our Etsy store. The link will be down below. And you can pick up one of these mugs. We can even put your name on it for you if you want to. Just kind of a reminder, just a little fun thing that we do. So if you want to support the channel, go ahead and get one of these awesome looking mugs, or we can create any mug you want actually.
And as we're going through these, absolutely, that is another video. You love making these mugs. Any comment, any opinion, any advice that you have for any of the subjects we're talking about in this video, please put it down in the comments below. We really would love to hear what's going on in your state here in the United States. And even if you're from Canada or another country, tell us what's going on in your neck of the woods. We'd love to hear about it.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'd say too, I'm open to any criticism. If you love me, if you hate me, if I'm spot on, or you think I'm full of whatever, say it down below. That's okay. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Go ahead and tell me, because I try to engage people to have a healthy dialect with each other.
Yes.
Let's have a conversation
and we
with
do
each
always
other.
ask for a thumbs up.
Right.
But even if you don't like this, you can put a thumbs down.
Yeah.
We prefer a thumbs up, but honestly, freedom of speech.
Well, let's engage right.
And your opinion, maybe you didn't like the subject, so thumbs down.
Right.
Maybe you think this was helpful. This was some good advice, or at least awareness we're bringing to you.
Be aware. Again, back to it. Know what your rights are. Be aware, and buy a mug.
Yeah. As Andrew said, buy a mug.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Okay, everyone, we're gonna wind up with the video now. We're gonna end things, but on the last thing, be aware. I mean, everybody drives, or most of us do here in the States.
Yes.
Right.
So
look into gas prices. See the difference between now and then. This month, in September, it's going up like crazy.
Yeah, we filled up this morning. It was $4.87 a gallon for gas where we were for premium, and that's the highest it's been in 1 year. And all indications are it's going to go even higher. Keep in mind, again, what we're talking about, all of these things, any one of these by themselves is not that big of a deal. But when you put all this stuff together, you really start questioning things. Now, we know that gas is going to keep going up because the oil-producing countries have literally said, we're not going to bring as much out of the ground to drive prices up. That's what we're doing.
Right.
And our country has just said, we're not going to do as much because we want to convert to electric vehicles, which, if you do your research, and this is a really easy topic to research, our country does not have the infrastructure or the power grid to have everyone have an electric vehicle. It would not work. Can't work. We're at least 10 years away from that. So why are we stopping drilling now when we're 10 years away from realistically having to have an electric vehicle?
Well, that's a whole video by itself.
It really is. But like I said, if you look at all three of these topics we're talking about, one of them by themselves would not cause anything to happen. But when you start putting all three of these things together, maybe you do need to be prepared.
And then food. We always talk about you can't live without water and food. Well, look at your food prices.
Food is going up.
And now that the holidays in the fall and winter season are coming and are going to be here quickly, it's going to be very expensive and a lot more. And they're saying, like, turkey's going to be like the highest it's ever been in history for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And we're not even in November yet. So
And
look at your prices.
A friend of mine that's a truck driver, when him and I were talking about gas prices, he said, Andrew, you ain't seen nothing yet. He said, it's going to get worse, and what's going to cause, that's one of the main things is transportation, bringing the food to the stores that causes the price increases. So as this diesel goes up, so are the prices in the stores going to go up. So
They
like
are.
we've been talking
They
about
are.
prepping, you need to get what you can now because prices are going to skyrocket. It's unavoidable when gas prices go up, and because of what they did with the strategic reserves, we don't have as much anymore. We can't open them back up again to try to lower the prices. We've done it too much. We're already dangerously low on that. Again, do your research on that because that's a whole other topic. Do your research. I don't want to go into too many details on it, but do some research on where our strategic petroleum reserves, God's a tongue twister, are at right now. So we can't do that again. So we're kind of screwed.
Yeah, and again, I don't like the fear mongering or, oh no, it's the end of the world, or is SHTF going on right now?
That was never our intention.
There
Never.
are definitely signs that SHTF seems like it's going to happen.
Right.
You know, whether that's, just EMP or a war or just the changing of the whole world to being a collective, one
Right.
world order or whatever you want to call it. I mean, is it possible? Yes. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't think anytime soon, but we're seeing hints and small little things that it's kind of going in that direction. So,
Right. Yeah, the signs are there. Look for the signs because the signs are there. And again, not trying to alarm anybody, not trying to panic anybody. That has never been our intention. But every day, I believe, at least myself, every day I believe there are reasons we need to be prepared.
And you need to
I'm just
need to
trying
pay
to
attention.
again make people aware.
And you're
of
saying,
that. Right? Better to be prepared and not need it than need it and not be prepared.
Exactly.
Hey, subscribe, like, buy a mug.
Exactly. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you're all feeling good. Your health is good. You're happy. You're thriving. And financially, save your pennies. We're gonna
Yes.
need them. Okay. All right.
All right.
We'll
Thank
see you next week. Bye.